Hello, I'm Kathy Smith. I'm the president of the Historical Society of Lee Summit. I'd like to welcome you to Lee Summit Reflections. Today we're going to be talking about the Vogue Theater, which was our iconic theater space in downtown Lee Summit. Theaters were always an important part of the arts and culture of Lee Summit. Our major meeting place during World War II was the Vogue Theater. The Vogue began as the Douglas Theater, a silent movie house, right there on Douglas Street, very close to where the condos are now. In the picture that we have, you can see lots of women dressed in 20s style clothing. They had cloche hats and fur on their collar. That was the day where the local newspaper decided there should be a cleanup day in Lee Summit, and so as a reward, they were given coupons to go into theater and see a silent movie. And so that was really a big day in a little town like Lee Summit. And then eventually the Douglas became the Lee Theater and the marquee changed. By 1939, the Vogue was born. There was a space where kids could go in and listen to a Wurlitzer jukebox and dance and kind of hang out with their girlfriends. Plus the beautiful interior of it. We've got an original Vogue theater light, which was on the side walls of the theater. We had it restored. It's a neon light, and it's quite beautiful, and we're very fortunate that we had it. But during World War II, the Vogue was a place where they had bond rallies, blood drives, all kinds of community gatherings, mainly because it was an air-cooled building. And at that time, air-cooled in Lee Summit meant that there were gigantic chunks of ice cut from the community ice house and delivered to the Vogue. And then there were large industrial fans put behind those blocks of ice, and it blew that cool air out to the audience. Well, if you were in the first row, you got a face full of water once that ice melted. It was quite the place, and it continued to be in existence until the 60s when it kind of faded from interest. This was actually built in 1898, and it operated the overhead lights and the footlights in probably various Lee Summit theaters because of its age. And the kids really like this because it's an actual hands-on component of the exhibit. They can push this up and down. Probably in modern day technology, it's called a rheostat. We have logs from the Vogue Theater. Back in those days, they would write the name of the picture, how many tickets they sold. Sometimes they would make remarks on what kind of a day it was and what kind of crowd they had. And so the early Vogue tickets that we have go clear back to when they were 11 cents. So it was 11 cents to go into a movie. If your mom gave you a quarter and you went to the Vogue, you could not only get in there to see a movie, you could get yourself something to drink and eat. The popcorn machine is very cool. It's a kerosene popcorn machine. It would be wheeled out to the sidewalk, and then they would put the popcorn in the little popper here and then stoke it up. And so who can resist that great smell of fresh popcorn? So that would attract people into the theater. So it was a very innovative way of marketing the Vogue. These storage units are where they used to store films and the big canisters. They would protect the films. We know sometimes after they would show a movie, the manager of the theater would take the film canister up to St. Joseph because that's where the other theater house was that was owned by the chain that owned the Vogue Theater. I'm Kathy Smith, and please join us again for more Lee Summit Reflections.